One of the biggest issues with replacing gas-powered vehicles with electric ones has to do with recharging. Today it is simple and easy to fill up your gas-powered car. Gas stations are convenient and ubiquitous. You pay, fill up the tank, and boom, you're done. For electric vehicles, things are different. Recharging can take a significant amount of time even at the more advanced charging stations. Having it take 30 minutes is not uncommon. Recharging should at least partially replicate the gas station experience, but the task of building out an entire network on par with modern gas stations is pretty daunting. But that is something that Taiwan-based Gogoro is trying to do with their battery swap stations. In this video, we're going to look at how Gogoro built out its comprehensive, super convenient, 2,000 station strong battery swap network across Taiwan. But first, I would like to speak to you a little bit about the Patreon. If you like what this channel does, you can support the work by joining the Early Access tier. Early Access members get to see videos before they are released to the public. So head on over to the Patreon page and take a look. I deeply appreciate anything you'd be able to sign up for. Thank you, and on with the show. Taiwan has the highest density of scooter users in the world. 1 out of every 1.67 people uses a scooter, and most of those scooters are gas-powered. Their foul smoke is a big contributor to Taiwan's haze and air pollution problems. It is not the only polluter, of course, but a significant one, and an electric alternative would be a definite step in the right direction. That is what Gogoro is trying to do with their smart scooter. Gogoro was founded in 2011 by entrepreneur Horace. Born in Hong Kong and educated in the United States, Luke had been the chief creative officer of handset maker HTC. He resigned to found Gogoro alongside Matt Taylor, HTC's former chief technology officer. The company launched the Gogoro smart scooter in 2015 in Taiwan. It was not the first electric scooter to come out in the Taiwan market. Others have tried before, but with little success. And there are a couple reasons why those electric scooters never caught on, but recharging is a big one. Drivers accustomed to gas stations have what is known as range anxiety, the concern that the EV's range might not be enough to reach its destination. It continues to impede electrical vehicle consumer adoption today. So in order for Gogoro to be successful, they need to tackle the recharging issue right off the bat. Thus, that same year, they began building out what they called the Gogoro Energy Network. At the heart of the energy network is the GoStation. These battery stations allow customers to swap out a used battery for a new one 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Users get access to the stations when they subscribe to a monthly plan. They pay a flat fee and get a certain number of kilometers to drive. If they go over that, they pay per kilometer. The process is quite smooth. If your Gogoro starts running low on power, you open up an app and it guides you to the nearest GoStation. The GoStation is not a discrete place like a gas station, but usually is like a kiosk at a 7-Eleven or some other building. Once you get to the GoStation, you take the used battery out of your Gogoro, there are two, and plug it into an open slot on the station's wall. The system will run diagnostics and record the battery's receipt. Then a recharge battery pops out somewhere for insertion into the scooter. Once the used battery is inserted, the station can either quickly recharge it for future reuse, or decide to hold off or until energy prices are cheaper. A user study at a Gogoro battery station finds that the average swap takes about 96 seconds. The most commonly cited issue with them is that the batteries are a bit heavy, being over 25 pounds or 12 kilograms. The GoStation has a built-in screen that shows information about the battery, reminders for maintenance, and other information like the weather forecast. The internal computer can connect to the greater Gogoro network through cellular or Wi-Fi. This centralized control allows Gogoro to do several things. First, it can respond to instances of scooter theft. If a Gogoro is reported missing, the company can remotely disable access to its battery network. Eventually, the stolen scooter is going to lose power. Second, the company can look at usage data to determine where to build out additional stations and save on energy grid recharging costs. Considering how many stations there have to be, every little bit helps. Gogoro's battery swap stations have to be convenient to both use and find. That means building them out spot by spot. By the end of 2015, the year of the smart scooter's launch, there were over 110 GoStations, mostly in Taipei. Obviously, Taipei is not enough, so the company thereafter built out stations in all of Taiwan's metro areas, including Taichung, my hometown of Tainan, and Kaohsiung. By the end of 2017, stations were added to Yunlin and Jiayi as well, making it possible for a Gogoro owner to ride their electric scooter up and down Taiwan's west side. At that time, the company announced that owners had completed over 4 million battery swaps and counting. In December 2020, the company gave a presentation to announce that it had built over 2,000 GoStations in Taiwan with over 750,000 batteries currently in service. The majority of the Taiwanese population is now within 1 kilometer of a Gogoro recharging station. Doing all of this took just 5 years. Regardless of what you might say about Taiwan's density, it is certainly an achievement. In a podcast interview, Gogoro engineer Daniel Vickery says that the stations are, quote, about as cheap and about as simple to build as one of those Coke machines. This also enables Gogoro to deploy these very fast. We can take an existing city and transform it to be electric without pulling a bunch of building permits to do any construction or anything like that. That may be so, but building out a countrywide network will always cost a pretty penny. I googled the cost of a Coke vending machine and those sell for about $3,000 to $4,000. This number is a little lower than what Taiwanese business articles say about how much each GoStation costs. Their consensus seems to be in the range of $28,000 to $64,000, and that range makes more sense to me. Assuming the high end of about $64,000 on average, since there are multiple variants of the GoStation, including a supersized one, that implies that Gogoro spent upwards of $125 million to build out its battery swap network. And that does not include the cost of the 750,000 batteries currently in circulation around Taiwan. Each of those costs somewhere north of $700. Nor does it include the cost of renting the land or using the power grid. That is a heavy cost to swallow for a privately held startup, so let us talk about government subsidies. Subsidies play a big part in the EV story, for better or worse. Just look at the criticism of Tesla for its reliance on regulatory credits to generate profits. The belief is out there that the EV adoption trend is largely driven by corporate welfare. In the aforementioned December 2020 presentation, Gogoro says that over half of its GoStations were built out entirely with its own funds. Doing so allows for construction to happen sooner. The rest of those GoStations have received some form of government support. 657 stations, or a third overall, got a 200,000 NTD or 7,145 USD construction subsidy from the Taiwan government. And then about 300 stations belong to Taiwan's national oil company, CPC Corporation. CPC, looking to improve its environmental impact, committed to rolling out charging stations to some of its 2,400 petrol stations across the island. This will help availability in rural areas. So those battery swap stations are fully funded and subsidized by the Taiwanese government through CPC. The Taiwan's government's subsidy support has effectively deemed Gogoro's battery swap technology the countrywide standard. That has sparked some criticism, but considering the lingering confusion in the United States with their various charging solutions, I think it's largely acceptable. Other than that, the Taiwan government's approach towards EV scooter adoption has been limited to subsidies. This is rather hands-off in comparison to places like Norway, where EV owners enjoy no VAT, free city parking and charging, free toll roads, and other such perks. But I think this approach has benefited Gogoro somewhat. Going by our earlier assumptions, some 80% of the Gogoro energy network can still be funded and built without a single dollar of government subsidies. It's a healthy sign for other companies attempting the battery swap model. When Gogoro debuted its smart scooter, the EV industry was still trying to decide between charging and battery swapping. Battery technologies continue to advance year after year. As electric vehicle ranges increase and recharge times decrease, charging stations become more feasible compared to battery swaps. Gogoro does offer a mobile charging option for their scooters, and it is important that owners can access that, but the majority of the company's time and investment has gone into their battery swap strategy. And rightfully so. The Gogoro energy network today can largely be considered a success, widely available, super convenient, and affordable. In the coming years, the company says that their focus will be less on the build-out of new stations, but rather expanding the available battery slots at each existing station, so growing capacity to match future scooter sales. The big question is whether or not the battery swapping strategy can work with cars. Cars use bigger batteries than scooters, and that makes the self-service model much less feasible. In 2013, Tesla demoed an autonomous battery swap solution in which robots would swap out the drained battery underneath a Tesla S. It was pretty nifty, but a year later, the company ditched that strategy, likely due to consumer disinterest, and worked on building out their supercharger network. There remains just one private company trying to make battery swap stations for cars work, China-based NIO with their NIO power stations. Their battery swap solution is futuristic and elegant, but as of this writing, they have less than 200 stations. The network is far from widespread enough, especially in the sprawl of China, to fix the range anxiety problem. Furthermore, the fact that NIO prominently advertises alternate charging solutions like a power charger and a mobile van solution that comes and charges your car is a sign that they know it too. Having secured strong market share in the Taiwanese electric scooter market, Gogoro is embarking on exporting their technology to overseas markets. Recently, the company established a joint venture with Hero Motor Corp to enter the India market. Hero-branded scooters using Gogoro battery technology and swap stations would roll out in the world's second biggest two-wheeler market. India's motorcycle market is said to be 18 times the size of Taiwan's. They have also recently struck deals with two very large Chinese companies, traditional scooter maker DCJ and electric scooter maker Yadia, to build scooters in China. The scooters would use Gogoro's swappable battery technology and electric drivetrains, the part of the scooter that sends power from the motor to the wheels. This is a massive opportunity for the company. China has formulated new environmental regulations for scooters, and 270 million need to be upgraded by 2025. There are other obstacles to society adopting electric vehicles en masse that are not discussed in this video. For instance, I have not touched on the unit economics of the scooter itself, but fixing the recharging issues were critical. Having figured out the situation in Little Taiwan, Gogoro is now on the way to making their solution the de facto standard around the world. Alright everyone, thanks for watching. That's it for tonight. If you want more content, you can like and subscribe to the channel. I would like it if you did. And remember to hit up the email newsletter and sign up. Want to send me an email? Drop me a line at john@asianometry.com. I love getting letters from viewers. Until next time, I'll see you guys later.